Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Kiki Loves Nigeria. Hey, on this episode tonight, I'm sorry. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing lovely. I am doing fine. Hold on, y'all. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. I am doing fine. Tonight, let me get my script up here. First, I want to introduce myself. My name is Kiki Loves Nigeria, and I am the host of this show. And on this show, we talk about anything and everything that impacts you visiting West Africa. Oh, I'm not going to say West Africa, pretty much anywhere in Africa. Okay. We talk about anything and everything that can happen to you when you go there. But one thing I've been noticing lately when we talk about these shows is that the men tend to think that these issues that I'm talking about, that they don't affect them, that it has nothing to do with them. That these passing away, these unexpected deaths, that this is just the women, this is just the middle class older women issue. This isn't happening to the men. And I kept telling them, yes it is, I just haven't had a chance to talk about it. So I received an email, and this person requested this show. She wanted me to talk about Mr. Michael Clark. And when I started researching Mr. Michael Clark, I was really saddened by his story. It kind of broke my heart, really, because, he went to Africa to start over, to renew his life, and then only for his life to end there. And, that's a tragedy. And Mr. Dominique, you know, it's Valentine's Day, and his wife is alone because Mr. Dominique wanted to go to the Gambia. And then Mr. Costain, I think that's how they said Costain. And then Mr. Costain, who only went there because he likes music. He's an artist. And he didn't make it back. So this isn't just happening to men. It's happening to Westerners. Okay, let's put it like this. And remember, you guys kept saying, oh, they're not doing the white people like that. Mr. Costain is white. He's a white man from the UK. They even doing Indians like that. Because you know what I did. I'm going to go all the way back. I'm going to dive real deep and see what I can find. So you know what I do? I look for what? Patterns. So the pattern that I wanted to look for, I was looking for, were there men being found unalived or just found, unresponsive in Ghana? First I did Gambia. And I thought, wait a minute. If this is happening in Gambia, this got to be happening in Ghana. So I did Ghana and Gambia. And it sure is. And what I was even more surprised to find out that it was the deaths in Ghana includes 2 U.S. sailors. 2 U.S. sailors. So we're going to talk about all that tonight. Now, let me get my script, y'all. Make sure I got it up here. Okay, so I want to say this live stream, let me tell you where I got the information from. It's going to include news reporting, court reporting, and publicly available commentary. So I got it from news reports, newspapers mainly. I couldn't really find videos about it. And that's what I thought was so sad, that this is such a serious subject, but you really can't find any videos about it. So I got news reports, I got the court reports from the courtroom, the transcripts, and anything else publicly available that I could find for it. So the purpose of this live stream is for, educational purposes, commentary, and public interest discussion, all right? This is intended for fair use only, all right? So that's why I'm using other people's. I don't even think I'm using other videos tonight because there was no videos, but I am using copyrighted documents, the newspaper articles, okay? So there was, like I said, there was no videos to use. So everything I share with you tonight is my opinion, okay? It's my interpretation of the facts. That's all it is. Everything is alleged because everything with Mr. Dominique's case is actually going through the courts in the Gambia as we speak. I gotta keep these on. I can't see these words. So, as we speak, okay, everything is alleged, right? So, let's walk through the cases. And the way I did it, I went in chronological order. All right, I went in chronological order, and but two cases that I really investigate. Well, they had more information. I'll take that back. Was Mr. Leonard Dominique's case and Mr. Michael Clark's case because Mr. Michael Clark is the one that just happened. All right, so we did fair use. We did everything was my opinion. We did alleged. All right, let me get y'all comments so we can get started. All right. Hey, Golden Heart. Golden Heart says, yeah, pretty much. But this has been going on for a long time. These sailors, they found these sailors in 2008. So this is, and remember, she says, Kiki, are they still unaliving our folks in Africa? Yeah, they are. And like I said, the sailors, they found the sailors in 2008. Okay. 2008. And these were off-duty U.S. sailors. Oh, look, thank you, Susan. She says, happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Yes, happy Valentine's Day. Hey, Brown Eyes. Let me see. Get this one up here. Hey, Q. She says, hey, everybody. And she says, so it's the same stuff, pretty much. It's pretty much the same. And they think it's some kind of poison. Okay, that's what some of the cases were saying, that they thought it was some type of poison. But again, the autopsies are so late that they don't really know. Even if they get an autopsy done after the fact, it's so long after the fact, they don't really know. Well, I don't know. I mean, people still go there because I go there because I have a relationship there. So I go there because of that. Even if I didn't, I would still go because I go because I like it. It's fun. If you get with the right people, it's a lot of fun. And you can discover new things. You can see the things you've never seen before. You can interact with people you've never interacted with before. You can learn a lot about yourself. You can learn a lot about a different culture, but you have to be interested in those things. I would always, my friends, when I was at the university, I would always laugh and tell them that I'm an ethnographer because they would always laugh because they would say, oh, you always want to be with the people. And I did. And I felt like ethnographer is a researcher who goes and lives amongst the people. And that's how they research. They watch people behavior. They watch patterns. And that's what I do. So I go pretty much for that reason. I like to watch people's behavior. I like to understand why people do the things they do. So other than the relationships, like I said, I would still go because I just like to study people. And I like to go to Africa because it's nice and warm and I love the warmness. And I just like Africa. I like studying it. There's a lot to learn when you go there. You learn a lot about yourself. To me, I always become a better person, a better version of me. Each year I go and come back, I become a better version of me. Hey, London lady, how you doing, sweetie? She's saying hi to everybody tonight. And who was this? Let me make this one big enough so I can see it. And Miss King is saying hey to everybody tonight. So, all right. So this is what I did when I started this after I got the email about Mr. Oh, shoot. I almost knocked the light down. Mr. Michael Clark, right? What I did, I went and I did a chronological search because I wanted to put them in order. Okay, like remember I told you I was looking to see if there were any other deaths in Ghana or Gambia. Now remember, these deaths are self-reported. So there's like a database that they go in. So if the family, because you see Angie and them aren't on there. You see there's no history of Audrey passing away. None of those, most of those women, Veronica, On my channel, you see they're not on there. Danita's not even, nothing about her. So a lot of these cases, they're not talked about. They're not. If we don't talk about them, they don't get any attention. So that was the first thing. I wanted to go back and see. Okay. And this is what really surprised me, that the first case I found, y'all, was in 2008. Let me put these glasses on. All right. And this was surprising to me because these were sailors. And look when it was on, January 1st. Let me put this up. And again, this is fair use. And we're doing this because we want to help people, men and women, understand that when you are in anywhere outside, even in your country, in our country, all of us practice our due diligence to stay safe. We do. We don't let our guards down. We practice our due diligence to stay safe. But for some reason, when we go to Africa, especially when we go to Africa, we just forget everything and just let our guard down. We forget the rules. And that's what I noticed a lot of people do. They don't follow the rules. They let their guard down. Okay. And you can't do that. So I don't know if this was the case of these sailors, but I was really shocked to see that it was 2 sailors. It was actually 3, but the other one survived. So here's the report on that. This is where I got this from. This is called Stars and Stripes. And see, and then these things. Okay, this says we can listen to the article, y'all. So let's see if we can listen to it. Let me make sure y'all have these type of articles. They have so much. So many ads in them. So hold on, let's put this up here and see what we can hear. See, I can't hear this at all. Yeah. All right, I can't hear this article at all.
Navy identifies 2 sailors found dead in
Y'all
hotel.
Ready?
The Navy on Thursday identified 2 sailors found dead on New Year's Day in a hotel room in Accra, Ghana. The deceased are Petty Officer First Class Patrick Brendan Mack, 22, of Warren, Michigan, and Seaman Lonnie Lee Davis Jr., 35, of Riverdale, Georgia. The causes of their deaths are being investigated, according to Navy Lieutenant Patrick Foddy, a spokesman for 6th Fleet in Naples, Italy. There was no immediate evidence to indicate foul play, Foddy said. Mack and Davis were assigned to the USS Fort McHenry, which was in Port Ntama, Ghana, located about 20 miles east of Accra, the Ghanaian capital. The 2 sailors were on liberty, meaning they were among those excused from the ship to go ashore for the night. Foddy and Joseph Durkwa, a spokesman with the Ghana Police's Criminal Investigation Division, said the bodies would be flown to Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, where autopsies would be performed. They would not
I'm sorry. There's some type of partnership that the United States has with, I believe it's Africa. Okay. So this ship they were on was a part of this partnership. And it was in Accra. It went to Ghana. They went to Ghana. So it was 3 of them that were together. And they went to this hotel and they went out that night. And 2 of them did not wake up. One of them, when they found them, they could still wake that one up and they saved that one. But the other 2, they don't know what happened to them. They have no clue what happened to them. And let me go down here. There was Petty Officer Patrick Brendan Mack and Seaman Lonnie Davis. Okay. And the hotel was La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, which is in Ghana. Let me see if we got a picture of that. Okay, this is when they identified them. So let me stop sharing this one and show you this. This article is when they identified them, and they were at that hotel. Okay, so hold on. Let me just see if this is anything else. So they identified their bodies at this hotel. They found them at a hotel, okay? And the newspaper that I showed you, let me put it back up here. The Stars and Stripes newspaper, they're reporting that they really don't know They didn't know what happened to them. They were missing. Okay. Put this back up here. Hold on. All right. Can y'all see that? Let me see. Oh, that's my notes. I don't want y'all to see my notes. Let's see if y'all can see that. No, not my notes. I want y'all to see this. Hold on, y'all. This is what I want y'all to see. I want y'all to see this article where I got this from. Right, here it is right here. All right. So here's more about when they found them and they identified their bodies. So they were missing. I think they didn't show up for duty or something. When they didn't show up for duty, that's when everybody got concerned because they didn't know where, they didn't have a clue to where these guys were. Okay, so again, they went to this hotel. They went to this La Palm Hotel. I think that's how you say it. La Palm Hotel. Let me go back to the name of it. La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, which is in Accra. The Navy said once they found them, there was no evidence there was no immediate, evidence of foul play. Their bodies were flown to Germany to a hospital to do the autopsies there. All right. So there was a Ghana police spokesman who said that they weren't going to jump to any conclusions. They were going to wait to see, what happened with this case, what happened from the autopsies before they would say anything about it. All right. So the Stars and Stripes also reported that a Ghana newspaper account decided that the deputy commissioner saying that a third sailor, this is when I told you about the third sailor, was found unconscious and later revived. Now, they don't know. They never said any follow-up. Oh, yes, they did. I'm sorry. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. They said that the deaths were accidental. That's what they said. That's what they told the family. That's what they told the family, that the deaths were accidental. Okay, that was the only explanation that they gave these families, is that they were accidental. Well, how were they accidental? Did they overdose? Did they fall? Were they in an accident? Was it carbon monoxide poisoning? What was the accident? That information was never released. Never. What the third sailor was being revived from, that information was never released. Never. And that was way back when, 2008? And this is 2026. And there's still no information about what happened to these two sailors in Ghana. All the report says is that their deaths were accidental. Now, when I saw that, I said to myself, if this could happen to two active duty sailors and nobody knows what happened to them, there's no uproar, there's nothing, pretty much. There's just some articles on the internet, and you got to look hard for those articles. That's all it is. And I said, self, if they would let this happen to these military people, these young military people protecting our country, what do you think they're going to let happen to these middle class older Americans and who keep running over there, taking everything over there? You think they're going to say something about that? You think they're going to get in an uproar about that? You think they're going to end friendships because of that? No, they're not. They're not. So the more I research this, the more I realize protecting ourselves is on us. That's on us. Because if this can happen to two on duty, three actually, two passed away. The other one, they revived him. Now this could happen to them. What do you think can happen to you? What do you think can happen to you? And again, it's not to say don't go because I'm preparing to go. But you know what? I don't run around willy nilly. I don't do that. I told you when I went to Africa, the first time I went to a cultural immersion program for 30 days. It was for 30 days. We went, I believe, once a week. And we stayed for an hour and we studied the culture. So I learned before I got there what was acceptable socially, what was not acceptable, what was acceptable culturally, and what was not acceptable. I learned that in Africa, first impressions, oh, they're very, very important. And not only do you represent you represent your whole group. Stereotypes are alive and well there. So it's very important how we present ourselves. It's very important how we look and how we act because they're going to judge us all by those lesser Black Americans who go there. And that's what's been going on. That's exactly what's been going on. Now, these were not Black Americans. These, again, they're not doing it to these white people. They're not doing it to the white people. That's a whole lie because these were white people. These were white sailors. These were white sailors. So, yes, you can't say that. That's why I said you can't say that without researching that. And I didn't research the color. No, I just said males. I wanted males who passed away unexpectedly in Ghana and Gambia. And they were brought up to me. So I don't know I didn't know what color they were. Okay. African Goddess is saying hello. Hey, African Goddess. Happy Valentine's Day. Let me put my glasses on so I can see that. So to answer your question about they're not doing it to the white people, no, that's not actual and that's not factual. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Says Life Without Limits. Honey Child is saying peace to everybody and happy Valentine's Day to you, Honey Child. And Elroy is saying happy Valentine's Day and wishing everybody peace and blessings. JW is saying they didn't return to the ship. Yeah, thank you. That's it. They sure didn't. JW, how you know about it? They didn't return to the ship. When the sailor goes ashore, he has to sign in when he returns to the ship. Yep. JW, how you know about it? How did you find out about it? So they did, and that's a big deal, JW, when they don't return to the ship because they're AWOL. That means they were AWOL. They weren't AWOL. They were unalive. Well, I take that back. I don't know what happened to them. The report says it was accidental. What was accidental? What? Because I've never heard of any drugs in Africa, all that I've been going there, that were so strong that they could unalive you. You know, the most I've heard of over there was illegal trees. You know, that was it. But and that doesn't unalive you unless somebody puts something in it. So I don't understand what is unaliving these people. So we don't know. To this day, we don't know what happened to them. No, we don't. Now just think how their family feels. Think how this just young guy's father must feel. Think how he feels. Let me see what this one says. It says, have you heard of the woman from Senegal? Have you heard what that woman from Senegal said? What? Rich King, what woman from Senegal? You got to give me more information to that, honey. That didn't even make sense. So tell me what woman is and what she said. When I lived overseas, the Navy would come to town. Yep, to a town, stayed a week, and the sailors would be everywhere. Relaxing. Oh, R&R, rest. Okay, rest and relaxation. It's not relationships for real, but it's rest and relaxation. Oh, but how did you find out about this case? Because I never heard about it. I never heard about it. It seemed like it would have been a big deal, you know? And I know the families were outraged because how do you just tell the family, oh, it's just an accident? What? It's just an accidental death. Oh, it's just an accident. Well, what kind of accident? Oh, we don't know that part. We can't tell you that part, but we can tell you though that it was an accident, but we just don't know what kind of accident. What? And this was what they told the family. This is what they told the family. This is the only answer that this young guys, this is what these parents got. Yeah, there's strange neighborhoods everywhere. Everywhere there's strange neighborhoods. Just like we don't go to them strange neighborhoods in the United States, don't go to them strange neighborhoods over there. When I lived on a black island, the Navy would visit every few years. Stay okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that. Okay, let me go down here to this next one. Accra is a major hub for drugs going. And you know what? I saw something about that they really said all of West Africa is because they said it became too difficult to get the stuff through the United States now. So or through through the United States. So they said the leaders in West Africa are easier to deal with, so they let them take their stuff through there, and that's why you see all these drugs over there now. And it makes sense because I'm like, how are all these drugs getting over there like that? She said she would strap a bomb on her chest. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, y'all must be talking about something that I don't know what y'all talking about. Um, didn't anyone research the survivor to ask him? Thank you. That's why I'm saying they're not telling us what happened to these people. They know. Either they know or they don't want to know, but they dang on sure don't want us to know because you know London Lady as well as I did, because he's in the military too. So you know dang on well, they asked him, what did y'all do the night before? What were y'all doing? What happened? You know they asked him that. You know they asked him that. I didn't see that anywhere in the report. Nowhere in follow-up reports. All I saw was it was accidental death. That was it. Accidental death. That's what the coroner said. It was an accidental death. Exactly. What did he say? African Goddess says, Accra is one of the places that Afghanistan passes their illegal substances through to get it to Europe. Imagine being a small island with a bunch of African sailors flirting with any woman wearing eyeliner. Oh, don't say that. That's horrible. Is that what it was like? Oh, if that's what it was like, wow, then that's not good. What is the name of the survivor in the incident? Was he interviewed? I'm not sure. I can't remember his name right now. I can't remember his name, but put in that the sailors and hold on. Let me put that up. Hold on. That's a good question. That is a very good question. Hold on, the survivor. What was the survivor's name of the 2008 incident in Accra where two sailors were found unresponsive? Okay, I love you. Text me when you get there. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find his name. They might try to act like they don't know now, honey. A senior police officer in Ghana told me about the drugs. Nigeria used to be the major route. Oh, they don't use Nigeria anymore. Mm. And I couldn't. It took me forever to try to find a picture, and they were saying for privacy reasons. Uh, no, let me look on here. Let me look on Google. What is the name of the three sailors who were found unresponsive in Ghana, Accra, in 2008, and two of them passed away? Let's see, y'all. Petty Officer First Class Patrick Mack. That's the one who passed away from Warren, Michigan. Guess how old he was, y'all? He was 22 years old. He was a baby. And fireman or seaman Lonnie Lee Davis, he was 35. He was from Riverdale, Georgia. He had a wife. The third sailor, guess what? They don't give his name. While reports from Stars and Stripes and Gulf News mention a third sailor who was briefly hospitalized as a precaution or discovered the bodies, his name was not publicly released. Why is that? Why wouldn't they release his name? Why wouldn't they release? Let me ask, was he interviewed? Was the third sailor interviewed about what happened to him? While media reports from 2008 confirmed that the third sailor was involved, his name was never publicly released by the U.S. Navy to protect his privacy. According to the Navy statements at the time, his role, he was the person who discovered Petty Officer Mark. He discovered them and Seaman Davis unresponsive in the room. So this other sailor discovered them. Well, how could he be found unresponsive? That don't make sense. His condition. He was also, now see, they lying. They lying now because look, they said that this guy who they not releasing his name, they saying he was the person who discovered the two sailors, right? And then you go right down here. Remember, we said in the other article, it said they found him in the room unresponsive. Well, guess what it says now? It says he also was found unresponsive. So how could he discover them and be found unresponsive also? So he was found unresponsive or in a state of distress. Which one is it? Because those are two different things. And was taken to the local Ghanaian hospital as a precaution. He survived the incident and was eventually returned to the USS Fort McHenry. He was interviewed by the Naval Criminal Investigation, the Ghana Police, and part of a formal investigation into the deaths. But those statements, listen, y'all, remain a part of a non-public investigative file. The investigation ultimately focused on accidental causes such as alcohol poisoning or environmental factors. Are listen, there is no immediate evidence of foul play found on the scene. So y'all know what that means, no immediate evidence of foul play. That doesn't mean there was no foul play. That means there was no evidence of foul play we found on the scene right then. Okay, I love you. All right, bye. You see what I mean? There was none found on the scene. But why the hush hush? Why is it 2026 and we still don't know nothing about this case? They don't know the boys. They're not releasing his name because of his privacy. What? Since when, y'all, do they do that? They don't even tell us what he said in the interview. Then they said he found them. But how could he found them and be unresponsive at the same time? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. No, that doesn't make sense at all. Now let me see. I think that's all about them. Yeah. Okay. Let me see if y'all got some more questions about them, because that's all about them in the notes. Because there's nothing. Yeah. That's why I didn't talk about the third one. They didn't give me any information. She did a terrorist threat on the internet. Who did a terror? Who y'all talking about? Hey, brown skin. Preliminary reports and local investigations suggest that the deaths may have been caused by consumption of a high amount. That's what they said. Yeah. Locally brewed gin. No. Yeah, that's what they said. But if that's it, why is that a secret? You know, think about it. Okay. Why would that be a secret? Why would that be we gotta keep it on the hush. We can't talk about it. Why is that? If it was truly something as simple as that, something as innocent as that, why wouldn't we why wouldn't that be talked about? Why would the third sailor have to be quiet? Why would he have to not say anything about it even to this day? If it's just that. Mm-mm. Everything inside of me is saying it's more than just that. Just like something else I want to tell y'all. And it has nothing to do with nothing. But that Epstein man, that Epstein man, y'all always want to call people agents. Epstein is a clear example, in my opinion, of an agent. Because you know what? Epstein's father was a gardener. His mother didn't even have a job, I don't think. And they were very, very, very low on the economic ladder. I don't even know if he graduated from high school, but he definitely didn't have a college education. All right. They don't even know to this day where that man got all this money from. So let me tell you, people like that will be plants. Okay. Somebody will come to you. They'll come to you and they want you to do their dirty work. Okay. So what they wanted him to do, now this is just my opinion, putting the things together, because it doesn't make sense. Why don't you know where this man get his money from? All this time, it's a paper. It should be an easy paper trail. Nobody knows. So either he was put in that position and given this money by either the Russians or either the Chinese. I don't think it was the Russians though, because they don't have no respect for them. I think it was the Chinese. I think it was them. And this is just me thinking out loud. I think they gave this man some money. I think they put him in this position. I think they bought him all of this stuff to make him look like he was who he was, to play that role. And you know what I think the goal was? I think the ultimate goal was to get information about our entertainers, get the worst, disgusting, low down, dirty information you can about our entertainers, about our politicians, about anybody, our religious people, anybody in this country who was and UK. They wanted them to. They clearly went after them too. Those two countries. And they went after those high ranking people in those countries. So you know what? They could go back and they could blackmail them, because they can go back and they could use it against them and say, oh, but wait a minute. Do you remember this? And what they'll do is show you a picture. Do you remember when you did this? Do you know this person? Now, what did you say when I asked you? What did you say you was going to do when it came to that document? What did you say you was going to do when it came to voting on that policy? What are you going to do? You're going to do exactly what I want you to do, or I'm going to release this. Now, what you want to do? Because that's how they play. That's how this world works. Because how can this happen? And everybody is in there, and then they say they're not going to prosecute anybody because they don't got enough evidence. You got pictures, you got testimonies, you got everything. That's how plants work. That man was a dangerous plant. And you see, a month after he was arrested, he was gone because you played your role and we were done. So if you want to know an example of a plant, of an operative, of somebody who's placed an agent, in my opinion, that's Epstein. So now let's get back to this. But I'm tying that to this to say, if it's just alcohol overdose, then what's the big deal? Share it with the world. There's no big deal. There's no oath to privacy when it comes to just an alcohol overdose and they're drinking local gin. You should warn us all. Don't drink the local gin. Why would that be need to keep that a secret? I didn't find out about the case. I put two and two together because I said I met sailors when I was working overseas. Oh, okay. Yeah. But that's exactly what they were doing. I'm sure somebody somewhere would look him up. There must be others who are curious about this. Sounds a bit iffy to me. Maybe the military were really up to other ops that can't be revealed. Something. Because I told you something. Something happened. Because why would this be a secret? That man, his name is not on the internet. I've been searching this for what? Since like 10 o'clock this morning. And when it's on the internet, they'll find it. Like I used two different AI systems to look for it. One AI system couldn't even find the case. The other one found the case, but it couldn't find the name. That's the one I just showed y'all that said it's not on there. It's not on there at all. Preliminary report. Okay, we read that. But yeah, again, if that's the case, then what's the secret? Why does that got to be a secret? Undercover ops. That's what I think. They were doing, that's what I think. Something's not right. Something is not right. If it was alcohol poisoning, they'd say so. They would. And it would just be alcohol. They would say, oh, it was alcohol poisoning, and that's the end of it. It wouldn't be a secret. There's no reason for this to be a secret. It's no reason whatsoever for it to be a secret. None. AI say some Ghanaian sources suggest possible lethal alcohol intake toxology reports. But yeah, they didn't say they did a tox screen. They just said they did an autopsy because so you got to take specimens right away for a tox screen or it's not any good. So they didn't even say they did a tox screen. They just said they found it to be accidental. That's what they labeled it as. Programs to boost capacity for anti-drug smuggling, anti-privacy, and general maritime security. Okay, what are y'all talking about? I don't know what in the world y'all talking about. But yeah, no, that's just not no simple alcohol poisoning, y'all. No, you have to learn, like my grandma used to tell us, you got to learn to read between the lines. Because people are only going to tell you so much, and you got to learn to put the rest together. Now, you got to think, well, wait a minute. You telling me this is alcohol poisoning. If this is really alcohol poisoning, why is it a secret? Why is it a secret? Because if the death is accidental, you got to pay more. So the Navy had to pay out insurance policies to these families, okay? And accidental death, especially that 22-year-old, accidental deaths, the policy probably doubles. It pays more. So they even have to pay more. And if they got kids, and the one man did that was 35, he had kids and a wife. So you got to pay all of that. So I don't get it. You rather just pay all of that, but they didn't know. They said they didn't know. So they said they didn't know. So we're going to leave it at that. They said they didn't know. We think there was more to it. And for them to say There were no immediate signs of foul play. There were no immediate signs of foul play. That meant you must have thought it was foul play when you first went there, but they can't go in there, gangbusters, and investigate like that. They can't do that. Ghana has to do that. That's what I'm telling y'all. They cannot do that. They cannot go into another country and that will just do all. They can't do that. They can't do that. What happened to the Black American brother cut off his dress? He got out. Remember? Oh, you didn't know I did a show about that. He got out. He got out after they cut his dress off. He got out and he was just talking about how, it was terrible and how we need to stick together. But I told y'all what that was about. That was about a land dispute. This father knew the Black American man ever since he had came to Ghana. He respected the man because the man embraced Ghana, not Ghana, Gambia, because he embraced Gambia, okay? So what he did was, after the son came back, the father passed away, the land was in a prime place, and the son wanted the land. So him and the Rasta man, they got into an argument. He wouldn't give him the land back. He said it's his land. Well, the son was like, well, no, it's actually my land because it's family land. And they got into it, and he ended up, sending him to jail. And basically they felt like he was behind all of this because he wanted the land. But the man got his land back and he got out of jail. What's going on with it now? I don't know. In Colombia, they put pills in your drink that could make you black out. Too much of it can kill you. And that's probably the same thing. That's probably the same thing because they want to rob you. So I'm going to just give you something so you can go to sleep. And I might give you too much. And if I give you too much, I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. The U.S. Navy, yeah. Why? Why? Why would you do that if it's just alcohol poisoning? Why would you do that? And why would you say there's no immediate signs of foul play? The U.S. Navy declined to release the preliminary autopsy results. Why? And they can do that, and they will do that. And can't nobody make them do that. I don't even know if Congress can make them do that. The military has their own world. They got their own court system. It's like there's the U.S. people, and then there's the military people. And once you belong to the military people, everything is different. So, I don't know. I don't know if anybody can ever make them release those results because that's just unbelievable. Yeah, I declined to release the results. But why? You said it was probably just an accidental overdose on gin. Why not release the results? 3 white men in a black country would stand out. Exactly. Exactly. They would stand out. And the Navy's in town because you're going to see a whole bunch of white people. You're going to see a whole bunch of them. So the Navy's in town. And when they come to town, y'all, they have money because they've been on them ships for I don't know how long. They've been on them ships. They've been getting check after check after check after check. So when they come to shore, they got money and they ready to spend it. And they ready to be with females because they probably seen them on them ships, but it ain't the same as going out kicking it with a woman. You know what I mean? They want to go out, have some fun, be with a girl, and have a good time. Spend some money, have a good time. And everybody know that who've been around military, whether they're Air Force, Navy, they do. That's just what they do. When they come to town, they come in to spend. Everybody know that. And they got a pocket full of money. 3 Chinese sailors were missing in Ghana, oh my God, on March 25th after a pirate attack. Yes. So y'all keep saying it's just us. No, it is not just us. And it's not just people who look like us. This is happening to anybody who they think they can get something from, men included. Like I said, you all can get some. Now, let me tell y'all about this next case. Now, remember y'all was saying, oh, they only just letting this happen to us. They only doing this to us. They wouldn't do this to those other people. Well, let me show y'all this next person. They doing this to. Hold on. Let me get over here and show y'all what happened to him. And his name is Saeed. He's an American. So Saeed probably had American dollars, honey. This is Saeed, right? And Saeed was a British, Saeed had more than American dollars, honey. Saeed had British pounds. Is that what y'all money called, London lady? British pounds. What's it called? I think it's called pounds. So he had pounds. All right, this is him. And he was a British journalist. And let me tell you what happened to him. So, Saeed Ahmad was, and this happened in August the 23rd, 2021. All right. So, it happened in Ghana. Saeed is 31 years old. He's a British journalist who was shot and unalived during an armed robbery while working in Ghana. So he was working in Ghana and he was unalived during an armed robbery. He was in Ghana working on a documentary connected to, oh my God, y'all listen, charity community work. So he went there to do a story, a documentary on charity community work. The report said that he was connected to a Muslim group and he was also working for the MTA International. According to the report, his vehicle was attacked near the Tamale, y'all know where that is, where, remember where ES was at with Tamale with the prince? There. And I believe Mark Caffey was there, with reports placing the incident, it occurred around 7 p.m. local time. He was shot and he was later pronounced passed away at a hospital at Tamale Teaching Hospital. So they found this out from a public report, which confirms that he had passed away from the attack. ITV reported Ghana police references multiple suspects who were involved in robberies along that highway. So remember I was telling y'all about it was a highway. They do that in Ghana. They were one weekend, I forgot what it was, but they were just robbing people along this highway. So he was on one of those highways and he was did it say he was traveling along the highway at 7 o'clock local time and he was attacked. And they used the pow and they pow-powed him and he ended up passing away at the hospital. So remember, so what we have now, we have the hotel passing away of 2 sailors in Ghana in 2008. And then we have this one in 2021. And this is Ahmad, who looks like he is Arab. He's not white. I mean, he's not black. So you can't be saying that this isn't happening to everybody, because it is. It's not just happening to Black women, Black UK women and Black American women. No, it's happening to anybody who has money, who has something they want, men and women. All right, so let's look at this comment. Black American women and men need to get back loving each other. Diluting the bloodline isn't working. But these are Black people who doing this. Multi-millionaire, this is Black people who doing this. We're talking about, these are Black people. The suspects are Black. These aren't white suspects who are doing this. These are Black suspects who are doing this. Yes, the pound. Okay. So these are these are Black suspects. These are our own people doing this. Okay, thank you. Hey, Mr. Dorcas, thank you. Uh, there are a lot of cover-ups involved in this case, making the truth hard to find. I told you, you can't find it. You sure can't. You don't know what happened because they just told you they're not telling us about the Navy people. Now, this young man right here, the British journalist he was unalived in an armed robbery in Ghana. This is him. He was 31 years old. He grew up in Hartlepool, and he was working for a Muslim MTA. I guess that's a Muslim international organization when he was killed. He was working on a documentary. We said that. It was about 7 p.m. Yeah, they said he was much loved. He was filled with joy and life. Ghana police said 2 of the suspect attackers were unalived in the exchange of fire with officers. So the Ghanaian police got into a fight with them. They knew who they were. They got into a fight with them with guns, a shootout, and they unalived 2 of the 4 suspects. Oh no, it must have been 6 because it says 2 of the suspected attackers were unalived in the exchange of fire with officers. The other 4 suspects were arrested, so it must have been 6. Ahmed's body was repatriated to the UK on Wednesday, while the date and the details of his funeral are to be confirmed. We humbly request, oh y'all look, we humbly request your prayers for his family and close ones, that may Allah grant them patience during this difficult time. MTA said, oh, this is terrible. Oh, wow. Wow. And here he is, 31 years old, unalived in Ghana. He was a victim of a robbery, and they unalived him. Wow. That's just really terrible. And he was there reporting on charity work. Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. He's still remembered by some. Oh, is he? Oh, wow. That's great. Because just think, he died doing something honorable. He went there to do a documentary on charity work. And you take this man's life and you rob him? This is really bad, y'all. This is really bad. This is really bad. But I want you to see the bigger picture here. It ain't a black and a white thing. Y'all was just mad the other week because y'all was saying that Ahmad's people right here, Saeed's people, was the ones that was taking over Africa. And look what they did to one of them. Look what they did to him. So as you can see, it is not about color. It's about money. And that's what I keep telling you. It's about money. It's about those who have and those who do not have. You have to be extremely careful when you're in a place with people who do not, when you're with the have-nots. You have to be extremely careful with them. Journalism is dangerous. But did they even know he was a journalist? That's what I'm wondering. Did they even know? It doesn't even sound like they knew he was a journalist. It sounds like they just robbed him. Oh, he was a dad too. See? Now the little baby done lost her father. And that was it about him. I couldn't find much more about that. They unalived him, and the other ones went to court. Let me make sure. Put my glasses on. So we talked about all of that. Yep. The hotel. So now we got Ghana. Okay, those were the 2 cases we had in Ghana, 2008 and 2021. Now remember, so y'all say, okay, so we haven't had any in what, 5 years? But how do you know? How do we even know that's true? How do we know there are no more cases in Ghana? Because we don't know about it? Well, guess what? They don't put them all on the internet, and I keep telling y'all that. And the database where this is kept, it's a self-reporting database. So if you don't report it, you don't have to report it. You know what I'm saying? If you don't report it, there's nobody who's gonna, like, there's no penalty for not reporting. It's just what you do. It's like, I guess it's like, I don't know, I guess they want you to do it, out of just common decency. But some countries just don't even do it. Let's see what this comment is saying. Okay, Kim, you gotta wait. Yeah, it's really sad. That's really sad. So men, that's what I'm saying. These men, they have to be on guard too. You can't think this is just happening to women. Yeah, that's true. They do. Yeah, that's true. They do. But again, I don't know if they knew he was a journalist. I really don't. African goddess. It didn't say whether they knew he was a journalist. Let me see. No, it just said it was during an armed robbery while he was working as a journalist there. But I don't know if they knew he was a journalist or whether he was just part of that armed attack. So that's all I can find about for Ghana. But I'm sure if I look deeper, I can find some more. Yep, money and SEX. Yep, it's always about that. All right, so let's look and let me tell you about this next case. So this next one is about Michael Costain. That is, I hope I'm saying his name right. Michael Costain is a 69-year-old percussionist. He traveled to the Gambia on March the 8th, 2023. Oh my God, he wasn't even there long, y'all. He was expected to return March the 20th. When he didn't board his flight home, a missing person appeal was launched. All right. So they didn't know where he was. So the family was looking for him. Hold on. The family was looking for him and they couldn't find him because he was supposed to come home on the 20th and he didn't. Hold on. The 20th. He missed his, he didn't board the plane. That's what it was. He didn't board the plane. See, sometimes this doesn't give me, I told you, you have to, but it's just like my friend was telling me at work, you have to ask it the right questions. Okay, here it is. Because for some reason, I didn't get all the information about him. So here he is. And he looked like a really nice guy too. Hold on, let me show y'all what he looks like. So he just went there. He just went, they call it a holiday maker. So I guess he went there just on vacation. So here he is. But now they want to put a big old ad up here that I don't want to see. So we're going to have to go to another one. So let me get another article. But I want to get an article so you guys can see what he looks like. Let me, hold on. Hold on, let me pull this up here. Okay, here it is. All right, so. All right, here it is. 1 second, let me share this page so you guys can see what he looks like. Now, he went to the Gambia, like I said, on a holiday. Just on vacation. They call it holiday. We call it vacation. But that wasn't even long. He was there for how many, y'all? How many days was that? He was supposed to be, he was there for 18 days. And he lost his life in 18 days. So look, he was a holiday baker from, where is this at, y'all? Michael Costain was found unalive. Well, I'm going to say passed away in the Gambia after missing his return flight to Wales. So this is him. So he just goes there. He's just going just on vacation, just to do a vacation. That was it. He wasn't going for, to stay, to live forever. He wasn't going for any of that. He was just going for the holiday. All right. So let me tell you what happened. So he was reported missing early on that day when he didn't report home, when he didn't get on the plane. So on May 19, 2023, authorities confirmed that he had passed away during his trip. But why did it take so long? What happened from that? Didn't make sense, y'all. If he passed away in March, March the 20th, sometime in between there, why was it to May 19th that they finally reported that he passed away? Was his body missing and they didn't know where he was? All right, let's see what this says. So let's do a timeline. It said March the 8th, he arrived in the Gambia. He was scheduled to fly home on March the 20th. His last known movements, he stayed in, what is this, Bushambala, Western Gambia, for 2 days before intending to travel to Abanaya, a village in the Kansamas region of southern Senegal. Now, that region, I know, we are warned not to go to that region. The Casamance region, no, that's a no. That's a big no. You're not supposed to go there at all. And they warn you not to go there. So they said he traveled to that village during that time frame. So the circumstances of his passing, the police in, is this Dyfend Powys? The Dyfend Powys police stated that the death was not suspicious, y'all. Listen. A representative from the charity that he worked, I don't know what the charity has to do with it. The CARD, where he was a longtime member, noted that he had passed under natural causes while traveling on a bus between the Gambia and Senegal. But how do you know if you didn't do an autopsy? Let's see. Mr. Costain was well known. And when was he missing? So he wasn't missing then. This one don't make sense either. They said this man was missing because he didn't board his plane. Now, if the man passed away on the bus, then then he's not missing because everybody knows the man passed away on the bus. So I'm confused. So this organization says he passed away on the bus. He was well known in his local community. He was a talented musician. This doesn't make sense either, y'all. It says his death was not suspicious. It was of natural causes. But how do they know it was from natural causes if there was no autopsy? Was there an autopsy and they didn't tell us about it? I don't know. In Gambia and Senegal, where he was traveling, a doctor or a local coroner would have examined his body shortly after he was found on the bus. Now, we know that ain't happening, right? We know that ain't happening like that, right? We know it's not, okay? We know that's not happening like that. If there were signs of trauma, they said there was no signs of trauma. So local police would have interviewed. They don't know what happened to this man. This is just no. No, they don't. Did he have an autopsy or did he not have an autopsy? Okay, wait, y'all. Let's see. It says when British citizens die abroad, especially in a situation where they were initially considered missing, the process of determining the cause of death involves both local authorities and UK coroner system. So let me explain this. This is exactly what we wanted in place. What I wanted in place here for us. But it looks like the UK people have it because you see, when Shakina passed away, the UK court system was involved. Every time there is a UK person unalive, the UK system get involved with that. They get involved with that. Now I see why, because I guess it's a part of their policy, their international policy, because it says here, if the person passes away in a process that causes a death involves both if a British citizen dies abroad, especially in a situation where they're initially considered missing, the process of determining the cause of death involves local authorities and the UK coroner system. That is fantastic. So, did they get the body back? Was the body repatriated to the UK system? How did the UK coroner get involved if the body was in the Gambia? And then if the body was exposed for long periods of time? Let me see what they say about that. The mandatory UK investigation. See, this is what, oh my God, the UK people have this. We just don't. That's so sad. Under UK law, when a body is brought back, repatriated to Britain after an unnatural or a sudden death abroad, the local UK coroner is required to investigate. The investigation often includes post-mortem examination and autopsy in the UK to confirm the cause of death for the official record, even if one was already done abroad. That is so good. That is so good that they do that. Our government doesn't do that for us. Wow. Local authorities in the Gambia, okay, likely collected that. So it seems like they would have done both. So they said the results of such medical exams are generally shared only with the next of kin, the public, unless there's a public inquest. In Michael's case, hold on, y'all. My computer is about to go dead. Oh, shoot. It was completely. Hold on. So it says in his case, it was shoot. Hold on, y'all. If they did a public inquest on this case. Oh, shoot. Hold on. I'm still trying to get this to go in here. Wait a minute. Okay. Now, in Michael's case, the police and his friends at CRD accepted the. Oh. So they didn't want a public inquest. Results. Such medical exams were generally shared unless the coroner opens a public inquest, which usually only happens, if it's unclear and violent. In Michael's case, the police and his friends at CRD, they accepted the findings as he simply closed his eyes for the last time while looking out the window on the bus, suggesting a peaceful passing. So they accepted it. They pretty much accepted it. Yeah, they said he passed away naturally. He was on the bus and he was 69. So I guess they figured 69, your time is up. And he passed away. And they pretty much accepted it. So I don't know if his body was repatriated. It didn't say. I don't know. I think they had a GoFundMe. Let me see. I don't know. Was his body ever repatriated? They didn't say whether a full autopsy was performed, so we don't even know. It was supposed to be. But I don't know if his body was repatriated. That's the thing. Okay, let me see. Was his body repatriated to the UK? I thought they had a GoFundMe for him too, but it looked like it wasn't that. While official police and media reports confirm that Michael Costain died during travels. Oh, I don't think it was, y'all. They said they did not explicitly state his body was repatriated to the UK. Oh, wow. In cases like this, the decision to repatriate typically is private matter and the family often involved. We don't know. I wonder if there's a public record of his funeral. If there's a public record or a memorial service in the UK, then we'll know. But it doesn't look, normally they would just say, yeah, it was repatriated, but it doesn't look like it. Funerals, it appeared from, yeah, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, because if his body was repatriated, I would find it would be easier for me to find it. I don't think it was, which is sad. So they said he was on the bus. They don't know how he passed away. They don't know. And repatriating a body is very expensive, extremely expensive if you don't have insurance. So they were doing GoFundMe's, and I guess they couldn't get enough money, so they didn't repatriate the body. So they just accepted the finding, which the UK people can't do an autopsy if the body is not there. So they don't know. They don't know how this man passed away either. No, because you telling me he just fell asleep on the bus. He's 69 years old. They think that's old. Okay, so you think that's old. But how did he get, he was active all the way up to that point, and then he just died? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Where's his money? Where's his things? What happened to his belongings? I stayed at a hotel. I stayed at a, wait a minute. I stayed at, this don't make sense, African Goddess. I stayed in Ghana last year and a robbery on the beach outside of the hotel. Are you serious? Ooh, I would have wanted to leave. Honey, I would have left that next day. Mr. Dorcas says the crime rate has gotten so bad in a lot of African countries that these will delete and rob someone for the smallest amount of money or the smallest things. And I think his was a cell phone. Well, no, not him. It was somebody else, the next person I'm going to talk about. But no, they don't know what happened to him. They need to stop. So they just said he fell asleep on the bus. Okay. Michael passed from natural causes while traveling on a bus between. That's what they said, but they don't know. They don't have an autopsy. They don't have an autopsy at all. Okay. They don't have an autopsy. So if you don't have an autopsy, that's only they just speculating. It's easier to say, oh, he's just old and he passed away from old age. The Gambia, yes, it is. That Gambia is a former British colony. You're absolutely right. It was more likely repatriated. But why won't they tell us that? And then the UK government could have really done an autopsy. Oh, they bring back the ashes. Oh, okay, London lady. He was just trash. He was just trash that they picked up from the trash can, and they just paid him money to do what he did. And he was a paid informant. What year was what, London lady? London lady, what year was what? It's about 15,000. Yeah, it's expensive. It is very expensive. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. All right, so let's look at this one. Let me tell y'all this other one. Where are we at now? I can't believe how much it is to repatriate. That's why you got to have, that's something that we really got to talk about, y'all, on this show, is about us having insurance when we leave here. I have to really investigate that and check that out for us, because we really need to start having travel insurance when we go places, because just all kind of crazy stuff be happening. All kind of crazy stuff be happening. And you don't want to be in that position, because your insurance here is not going to pay. Like, I have insurance here, but when I go to Africa, I don't. So the next person we're going to talk about is Mr. Leonard Dominique. And Mr. Dominique is this one in the middle. All right. And this happened again. This is in Gambia. All right. Mr. Dominique, let me tell you about what happened to him. So, let me go back up here to the top. So, Mr. Dominique, this happened. He was unalived on October 19th, 2024. The trial is ongoing, okay, which means the trial is going on now. So we're going to start with who this person was who unalived him. All right, so Leonard Dominique, they referred to him in the testimony as Laman, was a British national whose death is now at the center of an ongoing high court trial in Banjul. So let's look at that. Okay, so let me show y'all this. So this trial is going on as we speak. They've actually paused to take a break until March. So let's see. All right, so see, I told you all these have so many ads, it'd just be ridiculous. Okay. So I'm gonna show you another one, because that one's got too many ads on it. And what makes this case disturbing is not that it was violence, but the person who did it, the alleged betrayal. That's what makes this one really bad, because the person who did this was somebody he trusted. And I was reading one article, and his wife, she testified. She said she was begging him not to go. So just think. She's begging him not to go. And he's telling her, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. And this guy ends up unaliving him. All right. In court reporting, they call it the lead accuser. The lead accused is a guy named Ibra Foley. And he is described as the guy worked for him. Remember, I told you he was his driver, and he was kind of like I guess like somebody who helped him out. And the widow, like I told you, his widow testified that now listen to this. This man even lived in their home. So this man was his driver. Oh, y'all can't see the one. I took it down. Hold on, I'm gonna put another one up there in a minute. So this man was his driver. And this man also lived in his home for 4 weeks. 4 weeks. Mr. Dominique, let me put this up here so you can see Mr. Dominique. Mr. Dominique and his wife, Mr. Dominique is the one in the middle. He allowed this man who was going to unalive him to live in his home for 4 weeks, and he employed this man as his driver. So, all right, after that, let me see if this article is better so y'all can see it. Let me see if I can get to that one. So let me show y'all this article where I'm getting this from. And if they put the ad up, then we ain't going to be able to see it. So hold on, let me get that over here. So now the guy is the driver. I'm just going to leave this right here. Y'all know I got it from article. So now the guy has got Mr. Dominique's trust. All right. So his wife is saying, please don't go. Don't trust this dude. But he's going to go anyway. So that night, all right, so this is what happened. So I'm gonna tell you in chronological order what happened. Okay, all right. So Miss Jackson, she's telling us what happened. His wife is telling us what happened. She's testified and she said that she knew when the accused Ibra, his name, was described as a prior incident where, according to her, he once jumped over the wall at night, shouting for Leonard to come out, waving his passport, and claiming it was illegal for Leonard to drive the truck. Now that doesn't even make sense. So she said one night, she said she did. This is why I guess why she didn't trust this dude. So she said one night he jumped over their wall at night, shouting for Leonard to come outside, waving his passport, claiming it was illegal for Leonard to drive his truck. So that's why, I guess that's why the dude was always driving Leonard's truck. So she also testified that Ibra had stayed in their home for 4 weeks, and she described a money issue where he allegedly demanded $8,000 for pulling the truck. So we see problems right there. All right, oops, I just knocked my light over, y'all. I just kicked it over. I'm sorry, light. Ooh, okay. So I got excited not excited, but I was like, wait a minute. So he's staying in their house. He's trying to convince this man that he needs him. He's trying to convince Leonard that you can't legally drive this truck without me. So you need me to drive this truck. And why does he have Leonard's passport? That doesn't make sense. That he has Leonard's passport. Let's pull this article up and see what we can see. The widow revealed, wait a minute. The widow of the murdered owner of the truck, Leonard Dominique, testified virtually from the United Kingdom. She testified virtually. She identified Ibra as the man she believes lured her husband to his death on the 19th. So she felt like this was a trap from the beginning. I know him as Ibra, she's told the justice. He once jumped over our wall at night, shouting for my husband to come out, waving his passport, claiming it was illegal for Leonard to drive the truck. Miss Jackson's, she was a persecution's witness on what happened that day. Her husband is also known as Laman, left their Bruford Garden home in a green car driven by Ibra Foley. She said several men inside the vehicle were hiding their faces. So he wasn't alone. So when they picked him up, I never knew that. I thought he was alone. So when they picked him up, there were other people, she said, in the vehicle, and they were hiding their faces. Oh my God, listen to this, y'all. She said, I begged him not to go back. She said, breaking down, I begged him not to go back. He was sick, and there were too many people in that car. He stepped out only to collect money from me, and I told him, don't return, she said. He said, I'll be fine. That was the last time I saw him alive. Wow. Wow. So y'all get the full picture of this. This dude coming up here, he been playing them from day one. He been playing Leonard from day one. And the wife knew it. He stayed in their house. He was ungrateful for that. He was driving their car, and then he wants to charge them $8,000 for driving their car. Then he shows up to pick Mr. Dominique up. But they're saying in another article I read that he picked him up to show him some land. that they were going to see some land, but she didn't say that. So then, and they also didn't say in the other article that there were a car full of people. They didn't say that either. They said he was just with the one man. She said she begged him, don't go back, breaking down in court. She said he was sick. There were too many people in the car. So he was sick. That made him an easy target. And there were too many people in the car. He stepped out only to collect the money. Wow. And I told him don't return. The widow revealed that Ibra had lived at their home for 4 weeks. And after allegedly demanding $8,000 from her husband for pulling the car, she insisted that some green card had previously been offered to Leonard when his own vehicle broke down. So she said this green car, when his car broke down, Ibra had offered to sell him this same green car he was driving in. Under intense investigation, the defense counsel Samuel Ada, Miss Jackson, admitted trauma had blurred some of her memories. She could not recall the exact date she gave the police statements, nor could she recall precisely when she learned of the arrest. She considered she never told the police she also conceded that she never told the police her husband was known as Laman. What does that have to do with anything? When counsel suggested Eber Foley was neither the owner nor the driver of the green car, oh, they're trying to say he didn't do it, and was not with the deceased on the 19th, Miss Jackson fired back. He was with my husband. 20 minutes after he left, Leonard called and said Eber was in the car with him. Eber Foley, first accused, faces murder for allegedly stabbing Leonard Dominique multiple times in the chest and the neck with malice in Bruford, Ghana Town. They call it Ghana Town. In Bruford, Ghana Town. Wow. So the co-op defenders there's like 4 other. The case adjourned on January 19th. They're going to go back in session on the 14th. Wow. Whoa. So that's what I was reading. They're trying to say he didn't do it. This Ibra guy didn't do it. Okay. They're trying to say that, remember, the wife said that was the car they were trying to sell him when his car broke down. So they're saying Ibra's lawyer is saying he didn't do that. That's not even his car he was in. That was somebody else driving the car. But another article that I had read said that Mr. Dominic was on the phone with his daughter. He was talking to his daughter, and he was in the car, and he said, I was in the car with this man, Ibra. So his lawyer is saying he didn't do it. His lawyer is saying he wasn't in the car, that it's not even his car, but the wife is saying that's a lie. He was in the car. My husband told me he was in the car. Hey, TNK, I hope you're feeling better. London Lady says, that's $15,000 for the body. It's cheaper to get the cremation done and arrange to bring back the ashes, although this involves a lot of paperwork. Because remember, they cremated Lisa. In case of emergency, they should register at the embassy. Yes, every time you go. For Americans, it's the STEP program. He's absolutely right. Yep, you're absolutely right. You need to do this. This is so sad. Poor wife. Thank you. Poor wife. Yeah, that's what I said. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. And just think, she's telling him, because she felt it, don't go with these people. But you know how men are. They don't listen, especially when, they think, oh, I'm going to be okay. You just being overprotective. Just I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. But she knew it wasn't right. She knew it didn't feel right. And then here it is. He didn't come back. He didn't come back, and he was already sick. So they knew he was sick, and they knew he was weak. The two sisters, originally from Detroit, had moved to Ghana to connect with their roots. They were found murdered and buried in a shallow grave following a dispute over land they had legally acquired. We talked about that last week. I believe it was last week. So, let me see if that's all we had on them. Let me see what else, if that was it we had on the trial. So this trial was adjourned, y'all, until let me see, wait a minute. She said she stepped out only to collect the money. He said, I'll be fine. Then this part, 20 minutes after he left, Leonard called and said he was with the guy. We said that. This is what the prosecutor alleged happened. He said that Leonard was stabbed multiple times in the chest and the neck. We said that with malice on the 19th. So let's look at what they found. They said that the witness described the body as being found lying on its back, wearing blue jeans, a cap, and black Timberland shoes. The detail is part of what you okay. So these are the details, and they emphasized the details in court that this is what he had on. They wanted to make sure this was him. From the court reporting, okay. This is all they said. They were just saying that this is what he had on in court. This is what he had on when they found the body. All right. The widow testified. We said that virtually. Okay, so they're trying to say that she has gaps in her memory. So the defense is trying to say she has gaps in her memory, and that you can't really trust what she's saying. In a January 26th session, there's a person named, the last name is Lay, who testified and confirmed that the Crime Records Office, okay, in Bonda Bas Manjai, okay, on October 25th, the pathologist said that this was after, what is that? Had occurred. Oh, they said they couldn't confirm that that was him. So how do they know that was him then? The witness also testified that the coroner's formal request postmortem was missing from the medical report. So there's, again, no autopsy again. The coroner's formal request for a postmortem was missing. The coroner is the UK, because this was a UK person. Oh, yeah, a UK person. Their report, there was no postmortem request in here. There was no report in here. There's no autopsy report done. There's not one in there. Oh, wow, this is crazy. There was also a documented date discrepancy. The medical certificate listed October 22nd, the date of the postmortem was requested, even though death occurred on the 20th, and the pathologist described it as a clinical error. Now, see, this happened also with the lady named Mary. Remember the lady named Mary who passed away in the Gambia? And we talked about her story, and I showed you her autopsy report. That's when I figured out that in the Gambia, they don't do full autopsies. They just do a questionnaire. They do an interview. They ask people around you, what do they think happened to you? Okay, so Mary had 4 autopsy reports. Can y'all see my hand? 4. She had 4. She had 4 autopsy reports. All 4 of those reports had different information on them. All four of them. So this inconsistency in the autopsy reporting, that's another way. You know this stuff isn't actual and factual, and how can you believe what they're saying when they're not really doing a full autopsy? And in Mr. Dominique's case, it's not even an autopsy report in the file. And the date on something they have is wrong. So are we going to ever find out what really happened? Probably not. Probably not, but we know this guy unalived him. We do know that. We know this guy unalived him. Well, alleged. It's alleged because it's in the court. Let me see real quick what this one says. So, who reorganized and accused, including his own son, he confirmed. So there was this testimony, and there was a thumbprint. All right, the prosecutor called somebody named Isatu, who said she recognized all the accused, including her own son, and confirmed being summoned to the police station October 22nd, but claimed she could not remember the discussion about the thumbprint or the statement about Mr. Dominique being ill. So first the mother said she seen them all together and that he was, that was her son. And the prosecution asked her in court about the thumbprint against a disputed statement, arguing that she might be he's saying that now she's changing her testimony because she's an unwilling witness. She don't want to convict her own son. Okay. So they're out of court, they saying now, until March the 10th. When asked what happened that night, his wife described him as leaving home in a green car, all right, heading with these men who were hiding their faces, and she didn't say where they were going. And this is despite him begging for money. So they're saying, okay, so the wife said he came to pick him up in a green car. There was people hiding his face, and this was in spite of him begging him for money. He still left with him. The prosecutor alleges that he was stabbed on the 19th. He passed away on the 20th. The trial shows that the defense is trying to underline that there's a conflict in integrity, especially around the missing paperwork, the timing of the when they were found him, and the timing of different like the reports, and the photography of the body. Okay, that was the photograph of the body. That was another thing they're saying, because it doesn't look like him. A key dispute. It's about how statements and identification of evidence is being handled. That's what happened. All right. So that's what they're disputing. This is not him. So they're saying that this is not him. They're saying they don't have any proof that this Ibra guy actually did it, because Ibra, that's not his car. That's somebody else's car. And the wife is saying that's a lie. He called and told me he was in the car with you. All right, so let's go look over here. Now, this is another incident that happened in Gambia on October the 24th. So a year later, there is another case. Did I get all your comments? There's another case. Oh, yeah, please hit the like button. Wait a minute, let me go back up here. It seems land is always in the mix-up whenever there's a death. Most of the time it is. Most of the time, but it seems like they were just trying to rob him because they claim this boy Ibra wanted to rob Mr. Dominique to get his money to go back to and I see his name is spelled. There's different spelling of his name, and I think it's Dominique. Okay, I'm gonna have to change that on here. But they saying he robbed him to get the money. He wanted money to go back to go to the back way to Europe. And that was his whole point, was to rob him, to try to get this money. And in another article I read, they said that he was trying to rob him because, and then he also was going to sell his truck. So I was confused about that because, wait a minute, did they sell his truck? Because now they're saying he's not in his truck. He's in the car. So the other report said that he was in his truck and they stole his truck and some money that he had to purchase land. But now the whole story is completely different. Yep, everybody, please hit the like button. All right. There is an old saying that captures this perfectly. A hungry man is an angry man. Yes, you are right, Miss Israel. This highlights that when basic needs aren't met, people often resort to drastic or even dangerous actions to survive. And she is so right. These people you are dealing with people who are very poor, very poor. And the money we have looks like lots of money to them. And like they say, desperate times calls for desperate measures. So they think it is okay to take what we got because they feel like we can get some more. And if you get unalived in the process, then, oh, well, I'm sorry about your luck. But you got to understand, this is the people. This is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with. Desperate people, very poor people. And for some reason, when we go to Africa, not all of us, because I don't do that, a majority of us will hook up with the lower class people. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I mean you hook up with the people who have nothing. You don't hook up with the people who are on your level. You hook up with people who have nothing. And these people are the most dangerous people because the people who have nothing, they're the hungriest people. And they're looking at you like you're going to be a victim or you're going to be a target. Because eventually they're going to come get what you have. And that's the honest to God truth. That is the honest to God truth. Now, let's see what this next one is. Oh, let me show y'all this person. Now, this is another British person. And his name is Parvez. And he is an Indian. Remember y'all was talking about the Indians? All the Indians? How the Indians are doing this and the Indians are doing that, and they don't do that to the Indians? Well, Mr. Parvez is an Indian. And this happened to him on November 7th, 2025 in Ghana, West Africa. Now, November 7th, 2025, a British man, Mr. Kiyomi, get out, you in a move, named Parvez, who was age 68 from Ilford, was pow-powed during a robbery in Tema, Ghana. Tema, Ghana is where, that's where Lisa, we just talked about 2 weeks ago, was at in Tema, Ghana. He was pow-powed and unalived in Tema, Ghana during a robbery. All right, let me see. No, there's no article, y'all. Wait, here it is. Let me see. I think there's one. All right, good. Okay, let me show y'all him. Look at this one, because most of the time it's really hard to get the articles. Let me show you this one. Yep, this is an Indian man. Remember? Y'all was saying, oh, does that happen? Does it happen to India? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. It happens to anybody who got some money can get some. And that's what they're saying. If you got some money, you can get some. Because this is about money. This is about the haves and the have-nots. If you have, we're going to come get it. Okay, he was from East London. Ilford, is that how y'all say it? Ilford? He was killed and he was robbed in Ghana. So, Mr. Perez, a 60-year-old, a 60-year-old from East London, was fatally shot, was fatally pow-powed, oh my God, in the heart during a robbery attempt in Tema, Ghana on November the 7th, 2025. This was only a couple of months ago, people. How come we didn't hear about this? The incident occurred at a drinking spot where robbers tried to steal his phone at gunpoint. Mr. Parvez intervened and was shot. He was rushed to the Tema General Hospital but passed away the same day from his injuries. Senior coroner Irvin opened an inquest into his death at the East London Coroner's Court on Thursday, December the 11th, 2025. The death was reported to the coroner's court by the undertaker responsible for repatriating his body. Omar, a 68-year-old residing on Eastern Avenue in Ilford, suffered a fatal gunshot wound in the heart during a brazen phone robbery at gunpoint. The tragic, oh my God, this is horrible. Let's see. Details emerging from the coroners reveal Asfar attempted to resist. Oh, he was fighting the robber, which led to his fatal shooting. Senior coroner Irvin confirmed during the hearing that Asfar was shot after so he was fighting with the guy. They said no additional biographical information as family was given. What happened during the robbery in Tema? The robbery took place at the drinking spot. We said that on November 27th. The robbers approached him demanding his phone at gunpoint. I guess he said no. They said intervention. So he's saying, no, you ain't getting my phone. And they shot him in the heart. As a result, with the incident reported swiftly to the local authorities. Wow, he was taken to the hospital, pronounced dead on arrival. Oh my God, the inquest details and the deaths be horrible. I already told y'all when the incident occurred. He intervened because he just wanted his phone. It says, why did he intervene? Noted that Irvin provided a sequence of events emphasizing the intervention as the trigger moment when the Ghanaian police details when he basically pulled the trigger. The act was a resistance at gunpoint robbery directly led to his death. So they're saying that wow, he was sitting there at this drinking spot, just drinking, kicking it. Somebody come up to him, give me your phone. He's like, I'm not giving you my phone. What you mean, give you my phone? I'm not giving you my phone. Whew. They shoot him in the heart. They shoot this man. How old was this man? 68 years old. In Ghana, trying to have a good time, just kicking it. 68 years old. They shoot him in the heart. And this man passes away. When he gets to the hospital, he's pronounced dead on arrival. Wow. And he's an Indian. So, do they do it to Indians? Yeah, they do. They do it to anybody who got money. The ones who have zilch. Yeah. And I don't know why y'all kick it with them. Every woman we talked about on my channel who passed away, she was kicking it with a nobody. She hooked up with a nobody. She hooked up with somebody who had nothing. So to somebody who has nothing, we look like we got everything. Somebody trying to steal his phone, apparently at a drinking spot. He was from Ilford, East London. Yep, he sure was. He sure was. So he's sitting there drinking, and they trying to steal his phone. He said no, he refused, and he got shot in the heart. It seems you're better off going to Haiti than African countries. Oh, I don't know. We're going to have to investigate that. All right, let's do this other one. I think this is going to be our last. Is he our last one? No, Michael Clark is. So this is a quick one. Oh, Lord, forgive me. I'm not going to say it's a quick one. So this man's name is Jeff Cantel. He died in late November of 2025. So remember, we got Perez. He's in Ghana. Perez, he died in Ghana, 2025. He was shot in his heart because he wouldn't give up his telephone. And Jeff Catwell, he passes away in Gambia in late November of that same year. And he was 79 years old. Listen what happened to him. You're not going to believe this one. It's unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. And these are elderly people. You know, hold on. These are elderly people you're doing this to. The path of least resistance. So this is Jeff Cantel. They need 4,000 pounds. That's not enough to repatriate his body. Maybe that's enough to go there. Hi, I have made a fundraiser to help towards the cost of my mother-in-law getting over to the Gambia to say goodbye to her father, who was sadly attacked over the weekend and passed away, and also make funeral arrangements over there. If we can raise enough money, this Janie would really love to be able to bring her dad home and be laid to rest near family and friends. A few words from Janie. This is hard to write. Yesterday, we got a message from my dad's friends in the Gambia that my dad had passed away. It was quite a shock. He only went back to Gambia on the 1st of October. Oh my God, after being with me 6 months. But what's more shocking and upsetting is that he had been attacked. He left his house. Okay, hold on. She ain't using hold on. She's not using, maybe she's just talking, but she's using run-on sentences. So hold on. Let me try to put this together because this is unbelievable. This man got there October 1st. When did this happen? By late November, he was unalived. All right. She said what was even more upsetting was he had been attacked. And he's 79. Now remember, we talk about a 79-year-old man. He had been attacked. He had been left in his house between 7 and 8 p.m. And outside of his compound was jumped. He was jumped. Oh my God. He was jumped by 2 men for his phone. His friend, who my dad was meeting, thought something was wrong, as my dad had not turned up and was not answering his phone. They went to my dad's and found he was still alive and managed to tell what happened. Sadly, he was pronounced dead upon arrival at the hospital. We did not know the full story yet. I have been in contact. Oh my God. I have been in contact. She's poor thing. She can't even write now. She's so upset. She says, I've been in contact with the Foreign Office, but they don't know anymore at the moment. I have even spoke to the inspector CID in the Gambia, where they have opened an investigation. Oh my God. To me and to my family, our dad had been murdered, and we have no answers about the parent. We have no answers apparent from shock. They assaulted and mugged a 79-year-old man that ended up killing him But what I know of my dad would have fought back. I will hopefully be traveling to the Gambia next week. Oh my God, to make funeral arrangements. Whoa, I know it will be a struggle, as right now we are full of hurt, anger, and feeling of being in limbo and lost. But we will get through it. Oh, wow. This is horrible. This is, and he looks good for 79. This is horrible. So, he was going to meet a woman named Fatu. All right. He was going to meet a woman named Fatu who was his friend. He didn't show up. So Fatu knew something was wrong because he didn't show up. On his way to go meet Fatu, he runs into these two Gambians. I don't know if they're Gambians. I shouldn't say they're Gambians. He runs into these men. They jump him again for the cell phone. He's fighting with these men. He make it back. They fight him. He beat him up. They beat him up. He make it back to his house. And I guess he's just laying there because he can't move. Fatu knows something's wrong because he didn't show up. And then she goes over to his place, and she finds him laying there, and she takes him to the hospital. Go lay down, Kiyomi, and stop. She finds him laying down, and he tells her what happened. Oh, thank you, Charlie. She tells him what happened, and she takes him to the hospital. So sad, Edith says. I was planning on visiting Ghana this year after having last been there a few years ago. Now I don't know. You just got to be careful, honey. And you better be prepared to spend a lot of money because it's very expensive now. This is really sad. Now, the last person I'm going to tell you about, and then we're getting off of here, is another British person. Because I wanted to bring some attention to the men who had lost their lives in this repatriation movement, or not even a repatriation movement, just visiting, paying their respects to Africa. I wanted to show you these men. So you won't think, these people are thinking this unaliving is just happening to women. No, it's not. Who did we start off with? Two sailors. So no, it's not. It's happening to anybody they think they can get money from. Anybody with money can be a target. Anybody with money is going to be a target. Now, this one was, all of these are sad. All of these are sad. So I'm not going to say one is sadder than the other. All right, so this is a British tourist drowned in a hotel pool in Gambia as family appeals for help to repatriate the body. So the family needs help to repatriate this body also. So Mr. Michael Clark, he's from, let me put his picture up here, and I'll read my notes. He's from Yorkshire, is that what it says? Okay. So he died on December 31st, 2025. Michael Clark is 64 years old from Yorkshire, and he was on holiday in the Gambia in Monsey Beach Hotel in Kololi. He was in the hotel pool when he was believed to have suffered a cardiac arrest, their favorite thing. Their favorite thing to put on the death certificates is cardiac arrest. Reportedly triggered by a low water temperature. What? So he had a heart attack because the water temperature was low. Are y'all serious? His relatives said the pool was unmanned with no staff or lifeguards present at the time. Most of the time, there ain't no lifeguards present. The family described his trip as the first time traveling in about 20 years. deeply significant, and it was tied to personal well-being and mental health recovery journey, as his daughter described. Okay, that's the article we already have up. As his daughter described, okay? So let me tell you what else they said. The family has launched a GoFundMe explaining the financial burden on the family. Oh my God, this is terrible. And then you can't even get the family back. So let's see what they're saying here. Oh no, hold on. I'll leave this picture up so we can look at it as I tell y'all what the family is saying. So they're saying that Mr. Michael Clark was from Yorkshire. He was on holiday in the Gambia when the incident occurred on New Year's Eve. According to his family, he was swimming in a hotel pool they believed when who believed it in the hotel pool when he is they didn't say the family. They say he is believed to have suffered from cardiac arrest, reportedly triggered by low temperature in the water. I've never heard of that. I just never heard of that. Can low water temperature in a swimming pool make a perfectly healthy 64-year-old man have a heart attack? I never heard of that, y'all. I just never, ever heard of that. But it says, yes, sudden cold shock can respond. It can make you have a heart attack. But how cold do the water got to be? That's below 70 degrees. So the water got to be below 70 degrees. But it says in a man with 60-year-old and the pool temperature is between 86 and 88. It should be between 86 and 88. So if the pool temperature was below 70 degrees, they said, yes, it can make a 64-year-old man have a heart attack. Okay, so they said he got in the pool. But how is the water 60-something degrees and we're talking about Gambia? The ocean water is not even 71 degrees. That water is hot. But maybe they put cold water. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, the tragedy has left the family devastated. The tragedy has left the family devastated, particularly as the trip marked a significant personal milestone for Mr. Clark. His daughter, oh, look, her name's Victoria Walker, said her father had lived with depression for more than 2 decades. 20 years her father had lived with depression and only recently begun a renewed focus on his mental health and personal well-being. This trip was deeply significant, she said. It was his first time traveling away in 20 years, something he had worked hard to feel ready for. What makes this loss especially painful is that this was meant to be a moment of renewal for him, a step toward life, not the end of it. Speaking from her Sheffield, Miss Walker explained that the family is now struggling to meet the costs associated with the funeral arrangements and the repatriation for her father's body to the UK to help the coroner to help cover expenses. The family has launched a GoFundMe. We are reaching out to ask for help, she said. Any donation, no matter how small, will go directly toward bringing him home. As of this week, the fundraising campaign had had raised £1,200. They're asking for 10,000. They don't know how much it cost. Unless they're planning on wow, this is horrible. So I'm going to put his GoFundMe up, and I'm going to put up the other guy's GoFundMe on my what is that, community post. So if you feel led to donate, please do so, because they're nowhere near, though they're nowhere near what they need to get these bodies home. How much, London lady, how much is it if they do a cremation? But if they do the cremation, they can't do a, hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find the GoFundMe. If they do the cremation, then they're not going to be able to do the autopsy. So I'm trying to find his GoFundMe, and I'll put that up. Okay. So I'll put that up, and I'll put up the other guy's GoFundMe to help. I'll put up the other one, okay, to see what we can. No, this ain't him. This is somebody else. Then I'll put up the other one also, in case you guys want to donate to that, okay? Because they are nowhere near the amount of money they're going to need to get these bodies back home. And I don't see the link to the GoFundMe. No, I don't see that. Let me see if this is a news program. But I don't see the link to that. So I'll try to find that, and we can put that up. And if you guys feel led, oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, good. Let me see. I hope they have some money. Oh, good. They're getting close to their amount, but that's not going to be enough. Hold on. Let me show you theirs. So Victoria she's getting close to their amount. Let me show y'all this, and then we're going to get off. But I just wanted to do a show to remember the men who had lost their lives, and to honor them on Valentine's Day, to remember them on Valentine's Day, because I thought about Mr. Dominique's wife and how she's lost her husband, and now she's alone. And I just wanted to remember them, on this day. Yep, on this day. So let me go over here to the GoFundMe. Okay, here it is. So they asked for 4,000. 4,000. That is, I don't know. London lady, are you on here? What is it? She says, "Hi, my name is Victoria. I am fundraising for my father, who tragically passed away abroad in the Gambia. His sudden unexpected death has left our family heartbroken and facing a difficult task of bringing him back to the UK so we can lay him to rest. That is not enough money. My father was a kind, gentle soul who struggled in life but was deeply loved. He died from home, and we are now urgently trying to cover the cost of repatriation, funeral arrangements." This ain't enough. Look, repatriation, we're trying to cover the cost of repatriation, funeral arrangements, and basic funeral needs. Unfortunately, we are still searching for the travel insurance and may need to cover everything ourselves. Oh, so he did have travel insurance, but she can't. It's not like they can't find it. "We are reaching out to ask for your help. Any donation, no matter how small, will go directly toward bringing him home and giving him the farewell he deserves. If you feel to support, share, we would be grateful. Victoria and family." Thank you, Victoria and family. But this is not going to be enough. It is not. It is, I'm sorry, that is not nowhere near enough. All right, y'all. So let me see. That was it. Yep, that was all I had for you guys tonight. Michael Clark was the last one. So I said, I talked about this again. I talked about this because I want to pay some respect, my respects to these men, my respect to these men who passed away and who's lost their lives visiting Africa or repatriating to Africa. Because it's not just women, y'all, it's anybody. And it's not just black people, y'all. It's white people, it's Indian people, it's Arab people, it's anybody with money. It's anybody who they think they can get something from, okay? Because the one thing you got to not do when you get there, you have to remember not to hang around with the people who are at the lower ends of society, the people who have nothing. And for some reason, a lot of repats, a lot of Westerners like to kick it with the people who have nothing. And that makes you the most dangerous and the most vulnerable. All right. You got to look for people. There's middle class people in Africa, middle class, upper class, whatever you are. You just have to look for those people and make sure you associate yourself and align yourself with those people. Will that keep you a safe 100%? No, nothing is 100% guaranteed, but it's going to keep you much safer than running around with a bunch of bumpsters or a bunch of little 20-something-year-olds who have nothing to live for. So let me get y'all questions and then we're going to get off here. Oh, y'all, this is my first week back at school. I was so happy to be back. The kids were so happy to see me, y'all. They was crying. Um, he was working for a charity. Which one you talking about? Yes, I can. Low temperatures. Yep. Thank you, London lady. She said, yes, it can. Yep. I didn't know that. But I don't be getting in no cold. I don't be getting in the water, honey. I don't do that. I think if he kicked the bucket in the Gambia, surely the insurance would cover getting him back. So why they won't pay for it, London lady? What does she need to do? Hey, London lady, like, can you write up what she needs to do? Like, write it in the comment. Like what you just said, go back on and put it in the comments that what that is like. Like what you just said, the insurance should cover that. So I could post that on the thing and like how they do it. What do they do? Do they go back to how do they file a claim? I mean, what are the steps? Because but they can't find the policy. And what does she do if she can't find the policy? Because it's probably in the Gambia with him. If an elderly relative of mine was visiting Africa, I pay for their insurance myself. If they didn't have any, it doesn't cost that much and it's worth it. It's just a peace of mind. I need to look that up and do a show about the insurance because she's absolutely right. We got to quit going there without insurance. And then we put this burden on our kids. Remember the lady I talked about, y'all, who passed away in the Ivory Coast? And her kids were on here crying, begging for money to get her back from the Ivory Coast. Remember Anja? They did all that GoFundMe and they kept and honey, they kept the money. Well, let me no. I would take that back. Of course they kept the money. But Anja's body was never repatriated. She was buried on the beach in the Gambia. Buried on the beach in the Gambia. All them, I think one, I don't even think any, I don't know. Mary went back. Mary was repatriated back here to the United States. What happened with her autopsy? I don't know. I fell out. I lost contact with that family. That family was doing some heavy mourning. And unfortunately, that was one of the families that I fell out of contact with. So I fell out of contact with them. But I do know she was brought back here. She should find out who booked the holiday or flight. They know it usually comes out of the time of the book. Okay. So London lady, put that in the comment section, please. Because you're absolutely right. Because they ask me when I'm going to Gambia or wherever I'm going on an international flight, they ask me, do I want to buy insurance for this ticket? You are absolutely right. They will tell her that. So that's who she needs to get in contact with. So just put that, like make that what you, those two comments, combine them and put them down there, and I'll pin it to the video so people can know. All right. All right, y'all. That's all we have. We was on here longer than I thought. I'm sorry. But again, I wanted to just give some respect, my condolences to the family, and just remember these men who lost their life, because there's men, y'all, who's lost their lives in this movement. Mr. Dominique's trial is going on right now. It's going on right now. His poor wife is still mourning him right now. Mr. Clark's daughter, his family is mourning him. And just think, Mr. Clark suffered for depression for 20 years. And then he decides, I'm going to go somewhere. And he passes away while he's there. That's horrible. That's horrible. And then the family has to struggle to get him back here. That's even worse. Oh, my little YouTube thing fell down. So that's all I have for y'all this week. I'm not even sure what we're going to talk about next week. I don't know, because the topics just come out, y'all. Again, this topic was requested by one of our members of the repack community. She wanted me to talk about Mr. Michael Clark. And while researching him, like I said, I found all these other men. And I said, you know what? There was not even one video. I couldn't find any videos. I know Mr. Dominique has videos, but these other people, I couldn't find any videos. And I said, there needs to be videos about these people and what happened to them. This 79-year-old man, they beat him up so bad for a cell phone that he passed away from it. Where's the shame? Where's the injustice? That's an injustice. All right, people, that's all I have tonight. We will be back next week. He'd have his insurance documents with his passport. Yeah, and they're there. They're there. Everything is there. And she doesn't know who has the stuff now. They probably done went through his stuff. Remember how they was grave digging, grave robbing Lisa? They probably done grave robbed him. Going all through her stuff. Remember that? Oh, Susan, you too, sweetie. You have a blessed weekend. And happy Valentine's Day, y'all. Make a video about Black American men who lost a lot of blood in Gambia. What you mean? I just did. Make a video about the Black American men. I did. I just did. Who lost a lot of blood in Gambia. Like who? Who are you talking about? Multi-millionaire mindset. Who? I just made a video about Black men who lost their lives in the Gambia. And there's more on my channel. Are you talking about somebody in particular? But I thought that's what this video was about. But okay, it wasn't just about Black men. No, it was about all men who passed away in the Gambia. You said from the break-ins. From the break-ins. From the break-ins. Do I know about any of the men? I don't know any of them that passed away from the break-ins. This one wasn't a break-in. This one, he was walking down the street. I don't know of any of the men who had break-ins, but I'll look and see if there was any. But I don't, even when I was getting stories about the break-ins, it seemed like those were women. You know, like, I don't remember the men, but I'll look and see, okay? And if I can find one, some stories about that, I'll look for that. I'll do that, okay? But again, if y'all have a suggestion, y'all can email me, or you can drop it in the comments section, whatever you want me to make the video about. 9 times out of 10, I'll do it, if I can. But if it's somebody like that Mara dude, that's a whole crazy, insane story, and I can't follow that. That was too much. So, within reason. It can't be somebody crazy like that. That was insane. Good night, Kiki. Thanks for the information. Interesting show tonight. Much appreciated. Hit the like button, family. Have a lovely weekend, and bless you all. All right, y'all. Y'all hit the like button, please. Oh, and hype the video. Yeah, don't forget to hype the video, y'all, so we can pay our respects and spread their stories. He stabbed with a broken bottle and has a Gambian wife. What? I thought that was a man that was stabbed with a broken bottle. Good night, Monte Mill. But I remember that story. But I think I talked about that. But I believe that was a woman, or was it? No, you talking about Mr. Elvin? That's who you talking about, Mr. Oh yeah, Mr. Elvin. You remember that? That was Mr. Elvin who was stabbed with the bottle. Because remember, they contacted me. Is in past lives. Yeah, it is. That was Mr. Elvin. You talking about, yeah. Oh, Mr. Elvin is doing pretty good. Mr. Elvin has a new Airbnb with a new location because he had to. It was sad, y'all. After that, he got robbed, him and his wife, and they stabbed him up with the thing. He with a broken bottle. He got out. He moved, and he didn't feel safe there anymore. So he moved. But Mr. Elvin is a really nice man. A nice man. I met him through Quasi Boy, and when I went one time, I had an opportunity to meet him in person. And he's a really nice, sweet, gentle man. So that was horrible that happened to him. But Mr. Elvin, I'll see if I can get an update. But last I heard, he was doing pretty good. You know, I don't know if they lived on their own. They kind of went into a group compound after that, just for more security to live like in a family setting. So I'm not sure if he's back, living like with just him and his wife or what. But yeah, that's Mr. Elvin. You're talking about Elvin's B&B, yeah. Um, yeah, that was him, Mr. Elvin. He sure did. Mr. Elvin. And Mr. Elvin is a nice, sweet guy. He sure did. All right, y'all. That's all I have for y'all this week. We will be back on here again next week. Thank y'all so much for staying on here with me for 2 hours. And again, my condolences to the family of every man that we talked about on here. And may God bless you and help you find peace and understanding in what happened to your loved ones. All right, y'all. So let's get this message out here. Let's spread the video. Let's like the video and let's hype the video. All right. I love y'all. See y'all next week.